2021, the year that was for the markets. It was the year where bulls mostly had their way, but not before a couple of months where the bears also had their say. So you had all of this up, and the Nifty was actually higher by 24% at the end of the year, and the Sensex was higher by 22%. If you thought the pandemic, we saw good gains of mid-teens, well, 2021 did even better, and we've gained for 6 consecutive years on the frontline indices. Even if you take a look at the way our markets performed in the world, we were bettered only by the S&P 500 and CAC among the major indices. CAC, of course, is the French index, and among all the other emerging markets, the Nifty actually did outperform. And that's not all. If you say, okay, yeah, we did see some bit of currency depreciation as well, adjust for that, the Nifty was still higher by 22%. Not a mean feat. If you take a look at all the other indices as well, this was the year where we did see the FIIs pull out close to around $12 billion from our markets. And that was the highest outflow of the FIIs that we've seen in one calendar year. And in the other indices, the Nifty Bank actually underperformed, and that is where a lot of FII concentration was. The small caps and the mid caps, they flourished in this year. Among the other sectors, it was the year of heavy metal music playing by the bulls, and the IT index, steady as she goes, up 60%. But the defensive FMCG as well as the pharmaceutical indices underperformed. They gained about 10%, but lower than what the Nifty did. So let's take it straight to the individual stocks. Tata Motors was the big gainer and the big outperformer in an otherwise weak-performing auto sector as well. We did have Wipro, Tata Steel and Bajaj Finserv also clock good gains in 2021. Losers, far and few in between. Most of them belong to Hero MotoCorp, Bajaj Auto, the two-wheeler space. But surprisingly, the private banks did not do too well either. Kotak Bank was actually down by 10% this year. But like I said, it was the mid-caps that took the breath away. And there we had Adani Enterprises, IEX, gaining anywhere between 230 to 260 odd percent. IRCTC as well, despite its hullabaloo, was up by 190% for the year. Here too, the losers were far and few in between. Strides Pharma, for instance, RBL Bank actually was a big wealth destroyer this year. Whirlpool and Amara Raja also losing a third of their capital. But the biggest gains were reserved for some of the smaller names. Tata Tele, for instance, was up 2,500% this year. Saregama, Adani Total Gas, Acrisil, all of them would have taken your money anywhere between 3 times to 6 times in one calendar year itself. And talking about the calendar year, this was a year full of IPOs, 63 IPOs in 2021. And in terms of the amount raised, 1,18,000 crores, that was the highest amount ever raised in a calendar year. And in that, a handful of stocks actually made a serious amount of wealth for investors. Nureka, MTAR Tech, Paras Defense. Remember, this was a year where we had the Nykas and Zomatos also listing. So these were the big performers. And among the ones that actually lost money for investors, Suryodaya SFB, Car Trade, and Paytm. Paytm stood with a cut of 38%. So with that, we wrap up on 2021. Over to you, 2022.